I know we don't have, well, I don't think we have. Oh,
Wow.
wow.
What am I love it. I would have thought green is weird.
Yeah.
It is green.
Oh,
I thought you were.
What are you talking about?
His briefcase.
Your briefcase is green?
Yes,
That's green? Oh,
yes, it's very green.
is it? Okay.
It looks black from over here.
Yeah, it does look black. Sorry there.
But interestingly enough.
Call this the regular meeting of the Saugatuck Township Board to order on January 14 at 6 p.m. I will note, I know, but that's the committee in the whole.
Oh, if you flip the next page down.
There are ones I could be right on the details instead of Jen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
John, I got the 2026 ready.
Okay. Because originally it said 2025, I'm like, that's the
Did
thing,
you catch it?
I got it.
Oh, and we put pledge allegiance in with call to order, right?
Yeah, we're gonna add.
Yeah.
That's fine, okay. Those who are available and willing, please stand and join me in the pledge of allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, roll call number 2 on today's agenda. I will note all trustees are present with the exception of Clerk Osmond. She is on vacation, so she is absent excused.
Okay, we do not have any presentations. Brings us to treasurer's report. Treasurer Homer.
We approve it.
It's
That's
later
number
after
five.
public comment.
This is different this week, or is it month, or is it just me?
No, I think it's the same.
Okay. So reports then, okay, sorry.
That's all right.
In that case, I shall give the treasurer's report.
Sir?
Thank you. All right. We closed out the year December 31st, 2025. It's also the end of halfway through the fiscal year. And it was the end of another quarter. Cash on hand in our general account banking is $598,000. It's an increase of $133,000 from November. And that's it, as I said, we're in fiscal year 26, we're halfway through. Revenues through this halfway point are running at 15% below the budgeted amount. Timing of state revenue share payment is the main reason for that. We had $62,000 in from the state, but it came in at the end of the month. We continue to have outperformance in all of our building permits. They're all pretty much double the budgeted amount in December. And rental permits are up as well. On the expense side, we're running 14% below budget, which is good news. And only significant payments that were made in December, non-regular basis. And this is probably the lowest it's been in several months. We had $26,000 to the road and $14,000 in dog fund improvements. And as you know, the consent agenda includes $20,000. I guess that's, yeah, still $20,000 for bills that are due prior to approval. In terms of the tax year, which started on December 1st, the winter segment, all else went out. So people are paying early as usual. And I guess it's 4 months out of 5 that we've had the ACH ability to pay. That's going really well. People seem to respond to that.
And then you have to pay no fees.
Right.
Right. So that's
Like using
the credit card.
Although a lot still want to do that because they get their miles. The consent agenda also includes December disbursements totaling $933,000. Now, on the investment side, and I'll ask you to look what's in here, it's a reporter. By law, I have to give you detail of those. So page 5, that's the current update of all our investments. And as you know, they are not, so certain ones are kind of assigned to our certain fund, like the road fund, park fund, cemetery, et cetera, capital fund. The 3 that I've highlighted, I want to bring notice to, I guess I first should say, you can see at the bottom, total investments stands at $6.9 million. We increased by about $26,000 last month. So the first 2 that are highlighted, they are maturing any day now. We have made the decision, and I think this is the first time we've done this. We're going to cash those out and put that money in the bank account because it's sort of earmarked for capital improvements for the exterior. And then the third one, though, is a new, so this offsets one of those, increasing our total. Consumers Credit Union, which is under construction now in Douglas, and we have purchased a CD from them. That's the detail. Do you have any questions? Happy to answer them.
4.5, that's good.
Yeah, that is pretty good.
Oh, yes. No, thanks for pointing that out.
Do they still have that going on?
Yeah,
Oh,
And it's the
okay.
1 year.
there's a lot. The rates are kind of all over the place.
Yeah.
That's nice for a good investment.
Mhm.
Thanks for noticing. And let's see, like I said, winter tax collection started December 1st. The summer, 98% is paid, which is typically how our rate has been. And that is all I want to share. Let's see other questions.
Thank you, Treasurer Homer. Do we have a planning commission report from
I don't think we do.
manager? Sure, go ahead, Mr. Griffin.
Yeah, so some positive developments with the bike trail. So the township and the city of Douglas met with our grant coordinator at MDOT's TAP program. So we were able to discuss with her the fact that Douglas and the township were both successful in securing our trust fund grants. And the recommendation from MDOT is for us to proceed with engineering of the project. So MDOT's grant will cover the construction cost, but not engineering. But to stay on track with a 2027 construction date, MDOT is encouraging us to move ahead and pay for the engineering costs, which leads into the next item that the city of Douglas and the township held a joint meeting on Monday to give an overview again of the project, but then also to discuss where we are financially with the grants that we have secured for the 3-mile extension of the bike trail from Wiley Road to M89. I think in general, it was a very positive meeting. And I think that's the kind of momentum that we need to, take it to the next step, because then this board is gonna have to vote on expenditures that we weren't expecting this fiscal year. They're not a ton, they're gonna be coming from the road fund, as that's the fund that allows for us to spend funding on non-motorized infrastructure. So there's gonna be probably $60,000 to $70,000 of unexpected expenditures that we're gonna spend this fiscal year, and then the lion's share of the engineering fees are going to be spent next fiscal year, so we can plan ahead for that. But then essentially all of the construction costs for the trail are covered. And we are expecting to have some contribution from the Friends. They're having to crunch some numbers because the north section is more complicated than the south section. So we're still waiting to hear on what they may want to contribute, but I think that they want to continue to have skin in the game, as they're really the impetus of all of this. So that was a great meeting. This is more of a kind of a Cow Lake update. But we did interview candidates to fill the position of administrator, which we were formerly calling manager. We did have 2 very successful interviews, and we have extended a offer to one of those candidates, and we are progressing well, but I don't want to say more than that. Other than that, process is progressing and that we are happy with the direction that is going in, and hopefully I can report back soon about any new developments there. Let's skip ahead. This is kind of a little bit of a gray cloud, but we can survive. So Saugatuck City Council did vote 5-1 to exercise their right of first refusal to purchase sewer capacity that had been intended to be sold from Douglas to Saugatuck Township. Most of you were at that meeting, which is fantastic. I know that I make public comment to encourage them not to exercise their right of first refusal. I think that there was some confusing comments made by city commissioners as to what they were agreeing to. But as I said, we will persevere. So I just wanted to report on that. We did have at our committee of the whole meeting yesterday, a presentation by SME on brownfield redevelopment and TIF financing, which is in support of just kind of educating both staff and township board about what brownfield TIF is and how we can leverage that as a tool to encourage affordable housing development in Saugatuck Township. We currently have a project where the developer is interested in TIF financing to support some major infrastructure that would service that development, but then also service a large section of Blue Star Highway where we want to see development concentrated. In our master plan and also in our zoning ordinances, we've maintained the importance of keeping large lot sizes out in the rural areas. So by concentrating development on Blue Star, we can maintain that rural character that we all love and value. So that was a great presentation and hopefully we can continue to move that process along with the county's BRA authority. So something else that's coming up at the next February meeting, staff has been working with Progressive AE to develop a Hamlet overlay district. So Progressive will be presenting their findings to the Planning Commission at their February meeting. So they'll be reviewing and seeing what next steps they would like to take. All of that work is being funded by MISHTA, and it's in support of increasing housing stock in the township. Parks met for their regular meeting, and they voted to rename Sundown Park Sunset Park. And that's a huge development. For the River Bluff improvement project, just a little update. I'm happy to report that the funds, the $1 million that the natural resource damage assessment trustees have committed to the township to implementing the improvements at River Bluff Park has successfully transferred from the federal government into their hands. So the funding is available. And we do have a tribal coordination meeting coming up where we'll be reviewing the plans with interested tribes in our area to ensure that we're mitigating any potential damage to cultural resources in the area. And then finally, this is kind of exciting. Lori Babinski and I met with Viridis Design Group. We got our second iteration of the concept for the columbaria at Riverside, the above ground crematorium niches. It's very, very pretty. I just got the digital copy, so I'll send it to you all. But we're really excited about it. It's a master plan, but I should say unfortunately, we will have to phase it in. So they provided a phased option that is within our budget, and then we also have the master plan so that when we have additional funding available, we can implement the whole of it. But a significant portion of the project we can implement, and it is providing it's providing a lot more cremation options for Riverside Cemetery. So we did the above ground niches. I forgot the exact number that we're at with the phase. It's I think it's close to, I want to say it's close to 400 that will have niches. And then we also identified 71 new plots for cremations where we have 0 right now available in Riverside. So I think it's just overall, it's a great improvement for that cemetery, and it's meeting the community's demand for spots for cremation, and Riverside in general is a high demand cemetery.
That brings us to public comment. Reminder, people can, for themselves, 3-minute limit, for a group, 5 minutes. This is a chance for, the public to address the board and, share their thoughts, but not a question and answer session. And I will give Commissioner Lubbers the floor first because I appreciate you coming to all these night meetings. I know that you have kids and things at home.
I do. I appreciate your.
You're welcome.
Appreciate it. Thank you, good to be here in January. This is the second year of my tenure, so hopefully second year is as good as the first year was. But we will see what happens. What?
Better.
Yeah,
Yes.
on that note, we had our organizational meeting last Thursday, where we nominated Scott Beltman, District 4 Commissioners, new chairman. He was previously the vice chairman. So he's moving up to chairman. And Craig Van Beek, District 1 Commissioner, was elected to vice chair. We thank Dale Dugan for his service as chairman last year. He was a leader in the transition year, I guess you could say, after we changed up roles a little bit and just kind of a status quo year, which did a good job with that, and we appreciate that. So, and I've commented on this before, but we finally have new county road maps. So.
Did you bring it?
I do not have any on me. I am getting them tomorrow, actually. Okay. But I will bring some by. There are 2 versions. And it depends on what you guys want. The first version is just the same roads and streams and railroads and everything. The second version, they added a filter layer for the ORV trail network in the county. So I don't know if that's of interest to you guys or.
Well, can we have both?
Yeah, for sure, you may have both totally, but some people are a little more averse. to-
Right, I think that we have less ORVers around in our township, so probably less of those,
Sure.
but yeah.
And-
But both
and-
would be great. What?
And no such trends.
But they wanna,
Don't really-
people that have side by sides, they wanna,
And I don't know off the top of my head how many ORV road are ORV accessible in the township here or not, so.
Oh, I didn't think.
I can't say, I don't know. They may not be, I don't know. But anyway, either way,
okay,
I will bring some by.
thank you,
in the office.
thank you.
Next thing. We got our annual year-to-date revenue from the casino, so we have a compact agreement or, payment, load taxes and all of that, that we get from the casino board. And it's up 11% from the previous year-to-date, so it's been steadily going down, and that's more related to parks and anything else, I've mentioned that before, we've relied on that for our parks revenue. But now that it came up again, which is good for us, bad for the people playing at the casino, but.
Right.
Where, is there one casino in the county? Which one is it?
No, like,
Oh, like, okay, I don't do it, so curious.
and that program has been structured like that since. That funding comes from them, that's the deal that was made, contract that was written back then. That's what we rely on, so, next one you might hear about, the Rock 10 former paper mill in Otsego, well, they've been working on it for 5-10 years. Essentially what happened is was basically donated to the county because nobody wanted to purchase it for obvious reasons, for environmental liability. So the county has had a brownfield plan with Eagle. It has a 3-year term, and that term has expired. So their last meeting, we voted to terminate that. And then for the purpose not to end all that work that's being done in the brownfield, but to begin another 3-year contract. So nothing is changing, nothing, it's still gonna be remediated slowly, it'll probably be 10-15 years probably before that's done, but just stopping one and beginning another one, so real simple. And on that note also, we have begun discussions of a countywide brownfield housing policy. We didn't pass anything yet, but we're still in the position of forming that, and what's that gonna look like? Will there be potentially minimum standards? Will it just be a rubber stamp? We don't know yet for sure, but we're in the process of efforting all that out. And this is a new thing for us too, to work with all those, how many projects are gonna come in, do we allow all of them, a couple a year? To be determined, so. We also talked about the new Parks and Rec plan, so every 5 years that has to be renewed, just like you guys have to. And ours was up, and we renewed our new one for the next 5 years. For this purpose of applying for the same trust fund grant that you guys did, so that's our hope is to apply for that for April 1st and to get some money for the steps at West Side Park. So, and that has to be done anyway. It's good to write all down and plan where all the parks are, what they do, all the programs that are affiliated with that. And on that note, a new thing this year will be the Outdoor Discovery Center is going to work in collaboration with the parks to provide educational opportunities
Fantastic.
throughout 2026. So all that information is on, I'm sure, ODC website and the parks website when those are. Yeah, it's a great opportunity for people to learn and get outdoors, figure out how to do that, and it's good marketing for the Outdoor Discovery Center and the parks. And I will say, my wife was a kindergarten teacher, or at least was a year ago. Now she's doing something else, but she's had kids there for years, and they do a very good job with their educational programming. No, they do. So can't have anybody better doing that. So and then kind of going backwards a bit, but earlier in the year, 2025, we disbanded the groundwater work study group because we had finished our goal. But I can say the last monitoring well has been installed. So that was in Old Rachel Township, the first one, it was dry hole, so we had to do another one. And all the monitoring equipment has been installed, so now there's a public website database, so I'll forward that information to you. Anybody can go up and look up the data, what the data reads for all those wells. So if you have one close to you and you're curious how low or high the aquifer is, you may look it up. And then just a little bit of shout out to you guys. I got this. And you guys were one of 10 townships through the MGC challenge to, what does it say? Challenges us to turn shared ideas into on the ground results. That's Daniel. So you got one of 10 townships recognized across the state for that honor. So which is kind of neat, you know, to be chosen.
All the boards.
I didn't read it until yesterday.
Oh, okay.
And also on that note, if you guys are on Facebook, Josh and Jace
I know.
have been around.
Yeah, there you go.
So there's some neat videos of them and Baldy.
Yeah, 4 or 5 a day.
Sure.
I think they're gone now.
They can dive into other places, but it's just kind of neat to highlight, you know. some-
All these tourists coming from England.
maybe.
That could be you.
No, serious.
Maybe. So then, the last thing on a sad note, you didn't see, you probably did, last Tuesday, we had the celebration service of Chief David Hartley. So, and I just want to express my appreciation on the record to all the firemen and EMTs and police that, were part of that service. The processional was like a mile long, I think, from the church to the cemetery.
He
So,
served for many years.
51
and
years.
As also as chief of police, right? Or,
no, he was sheriff for 8 years,
yeah,
93 to 2000. He was commissioner for a couple of years also. So he was fire chief for 40, fireman for 51 years. All the same fire department, obviously. And he's just you know, an example of what being a civil servant is, just similar to Chief Jennings. You know, they're very similar in that respect, you know, we can't ask for better people like that in those positions. And then on that note, the family had asked to do since he was involved with the county also, another celebration of one of the county board of commissioners meetings. And that will happen at a later date, no later meeting, probably February or March. So, and then that will be forwarded to you guys, so anybody who would like to attend in honor of that would be welcome if you would like to do that, or you can watch on YouTube. If you want to see other questions, that's all I have.
thank you, Commissioner Lovers. Thank you very much for being here tonight. Okay, public comment continues. Go ahead, take the podium, state your name and where you live.
Hello, I'm Elaine Isley. I'm the new executive director of the Saugatuck Coastal Alliance. I don't actually live in the township, I live in Grand Rapids, but I thought it was worth coming here to let you know who I am and maybe open the door to some possible collaboration going forward. So I have been doing environmental work now for 20-something years. I tried to stop doing math as I get older. I spent 12 years at the West Michigan Environmental Action Council. John and I worked together. I'm relevant to you all. My background is in water policy. I have a strong background in stormwater management, but I've also spent a lot of time working with communities to develop environmental policies. So we worked really hard with the city of Grand Rapids, trying to get them to improve how they approach projects, and including street projects and development projects with stormwater considerations as part of that. As you're going forward with your master planning, I would ask to be invited to at least consult You know, I might have some advice on that as you're developing your new park. John knows I've worked with water trail planning and development, so I may not be an expert in everything, but I know about a lot of things. And I think that as we're going forward, trying to look at a more positive relationship between the Alliance and the township, it would be a positive thing. So, I don't know, I don't want to take up all of your time, but I don't know if you want to know more about my background or if you have any questions. But I think I'll leave it at that for now. Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for coming out tonight.
Absolutely.
Nice to meet you. All right.
Good evening, my name is Tim Slates. I live in Saugatuck Township. My wife and I moved here, built here in '99, and have raised 2 of our kids here. We continue to live in the same house we built, so. I am running for judge for 57th District Court in Allen. Judge Saugatuck is vacating his seat at the end of this year. Judge Bellargin was the other judge. Judge Bellargin stepped down in May, and the governor appointed Chris Burnett into his seat. He'll have to defend that seat as well in November, but I'm running for the vacant seat that Judge Scott was vacating. I've been in law for the last 30-ish years in some fashion or another. Started out with state police in '95. My wife and I came over here to South Haven as a trooper in the South Haven post. Was there for just under 10 years. At the 8.5-year mark, I got shot in line of duty in Benton Harbor in civil unrest. So that ended my career shortly thereafter. So 2005, I retired from the state police, paid my way back through law school, and upon graduating from law school, I went back to Berrien County to serve as a prosecutor for 4.5 years at the prosecutor's office. And in 2015, I left the prosecutor's office and opened my own practice in Holland. I've been practicing primarily in Allegan and Ottawa County. You go to what you know, so I've been doing criminal defense, estate planning, expungements, driver's license restorations. I'm also on counsel with Richard McGalla, kind of on a research and writing basis. He practices in the area of personal injury law and auto crashes. So I think my experience leaves me uniquely qualified for the bench. I'm in the process of still gathering signatures, but kicked off my campaign the end of December. And I know that there are 2 other people in Allegan right now that have thrown their name in the ring. One is Heidi Wolf. She is a practitioner in Allegan County, and the other is Kevin Travis. He's the West Township supervisor. So it'll be an exciting year. I have informational cards for those that want some information on the website and the Facebook page. I encourage you to follow me and support me. For those of you who are willing and Allegan County residents that would like to sign a petition, help get on the ballot, I have them as well. Thank you.
Mr. Smith, may I ask you a quick question?
Absolutely.
How quick it is. Judge Bellargin, I've known him for many years, and he just had a bit of a different approach to, you know, the bench and justice, and did a lot to restore things, you know, for nonviolent crimes, for crimes that really, you know, just that weren't terribly disruptive and hurtful to other people, like drug court. And I know he did a lot of work with veterans.
He actually implemented the veterans.
Yes, and I just think that, you know, my degree is in criminal justice, and I know that throwing the book at people doesn't always work. The data just supports it. You know, interventions and support and therapy and whatever, especially with those, you know, people who aren't career criminals, right? So can you talk a little bit about, you know, what you see? Would you continue those programs, improve them, change them? Where do you see yourself fitting in that type, you know?
First off, Judge Bellargin, we're gonna miss him very deeply at the bench. He did a great job in Allegan County. Started off in circuit court, was reappointed to district court, held that seat for a long time. His work in specialty courts is paramount, and I'm a true believer of specialty courts. The Veterans Court, I think they get more out of the program when they have comrades who have served the same toils of life that we have. So the veterans court in that sense is huge. We also have a drug court or sobriety court, for those that have found themselves in the criminal justice system 2 or more times for drinking and driving, or for felonies that are related to drug or alcohol abuse. So whether it's breaking into houses or stealing because to feed a habit. Those types of special courts are huge in reformation and trying to rehabilitate someone. I know that there's been other talk in other counties of a jobs court. I don't know that any courts have implemented that, but I know that there's been talk of that. I think any assistance that you can give people to get them back on the right path is what we should be focusing on. For those that are find themselves repeatedly and not getting the message, then that's a different story. I can tell you from my personal standpoint, I'm a believer in reformation. The young man that shot me was 17 years old. He'd been in trouble since he was 11. He really didn't have a family base. His parents' rights were taken away due to drug issues. And he made some bad choices. He served 20 years. I reached out to him at the end of his term to communicate with him. I was impressed with the things that I saw, so I spoke on his behalf to go forward to help him. I'm a believer in that's what God told me. So that's my feelings on treatment courts. I would, if I were elected to the bench, I would absolutely continue that practice in special courts. A lot of the reforms and reformation have come thankfully through legislature to make it a little more unified throughout all the counties. So judges should not be giving harsh sentences for non-serious misdemeanors. There's a presumption of no jail and no probation. So unless they overcome that presumption, the legislature speaks for itself. And I'm a textualist. I think our power comes from the Constitution and laws. I absolutely follow law, and if it's there in black and white, it's not for me to interpret otherwise.
Thanks for sharing that.
Again, I'll leave some informational cards here for those that like.
Sure. Yes.
If there's more there, feel free to pass them up here.
Okay.
If those that are residents, the citation, I'll stick around.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Brings us to, we have people,
We do.
okay.
If anyone on Zoom would like to speak, please raise your hand. Going once. Going twice.
We will have another opportunity at the end of today's meeting, but it looks like no one is chomping at the bit here. Okay. Brings us to approval of the agenda. People understand, okay. Treasurer Helmer
Yes, we'd like
is aware of an addition.
I request that we add an item, this would be 13.2. And this is regarding, really the whole name, just because it's kind of interesting. This is for a sub-grant with the revitalization and placemaking program public space, which is operated through the right place.
Yes.
So we will approve the agenda with that addition.
Sure.
Okay. You have support?
I'll support.
Motion and support, discussion. Hearing none, all in favor? Aye. Opposed? Okay. Now moving on to the consent agenda, I trust that everyone has had opportunity to review everything in the consent agenda. I know there was some late bills added that we had a chance to review before today's meeting. But if there's nothing that we need to pull out of there and discuss separately, I would entertain a motion to approve the consent agenda as presented.
I move to approve the consent agenda as presented.
I'll support.
Motion and support. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Right. Moving right along, we do not have any, items under 7 through 12, so that brings us to, 13, which is. First item is superseding agreement for campground sewer capacity. We spoke at length about this yesterday at the, committee of the whole. Dan, you want to give a brief summary before we take action on this?
Yes, this is a superseding sewer agreement because of the prior super agreement with the former developer for AutoCam. We have a new developer and the project is now called Saugatuck Lodging. The prior agreement had required as part of the issuing of building permits, the establishment of an escrow account to pay for the acquisition of sewer capacity in the event that the township was able to acquire sewer capacity from either the city of Douglas or Saugatuck City. Since that agreement, we have reevaluated how we are going to allocate our sewer capacity. And we have determined that we have sufficient capacity available for at least phase 1 of Saugatuck Lodging, which includes, among other things, 76 cabins. And also approximately 8,000 square foot clubhouse. So what this agreement does is that it recognizes the new owner as Saugatuck Lodging. It eliminates the escrow requirement, so we would no longer be requiring any funding from the developer in order to acquire sewer capacity in the future. It guarantees that there is capacity available for phase 1 of their projects. So if they were going to pursue additional or construction of additional cabins, they would have to come back for approval, and at that time, we would make a determination if capacity was available. If capacity was available, then they could proceed.
If at that point, if it wasn't available,
We couldn't issue building permits.
is there a possibility we would require escrow at that point?
I don't think so. It's hard to say. So I think at this point, we do not have a precedent for asking developers to pay or assist in the financing of acquiring additional sewer capacity. That might change if they came back again. But I think there would have to be some big development that changed that would make us change our policy to start to ask developers to pay for the acquisition of sewer capacity. So that might be that we ask developers to buy it directly from the other cities if we were unable to acquire it. So maybe there's a scenario like that. I can't imagine a scenario, I mean, I just imagined a scenario. I can't foresee, yeah, I can't foresee anything like that, but it would essentially involve some sort of substantial policy change that has not occurred at this moment. So if we did have sewer capacity available for phase 2, and we were approached by the developers of Saugatuck Lodging, we would approve the expansion knowing that we had the capacity available.
Thank you for clarifying.
You're very welcome.
Is there any plans for that clubhouse? That would not be an event center or anything, would it, or could it be?
So it would not be available to use by anyone who was not staying at the facility.
Cause that's pretty big, isn't it?
It's pretty big, so it's quite possible that maybe there's a buyout of the entire site and that they use it for some sort of large event. I think that, but if it's fully occupied, also everyone who's staying there is gonna be using it.
Yeah.
But no one who is not staying at the resort will be able to rent out or use that space in addition to the people who are staying on site.
But we could rent one of the units.
Yeah, if you rented one of the units
That everyone.
or all of the units, then you could, you
Right.
could utilize the clubhouse.
Just curious.
Yes. Yes, and then this agreement totally replaces and supersedes the prior agreement.
Right.
Yeah. it doesn't exempt them from the sewer connection fees, which are gonna be due at the time of permitting, just to point that out, it's just. It's essentially exempting them from this prior requirement that was asking them to establish an escrow account to pay for the future acquisition of sewer capacity, so. That's what you're being asked. The developer looks like they are online. If you have any questions for the developer at this time. Or I don't know if you wanna hear from the developer.
I feel like, we talked about it at length yesterday and it was pretty straightforward. It all made sense. So I don't have any questions. If anyone else would
We're
do
learning
that.
so much with AutoCAD, and we got the revisions with this planning commissions.
Just being consistent with all the developers, all that makes sense. So.
But thank you for joining us.
Yes, thank you, Andrea and John.
Would you like a motion? Yes, please. I'll move to approve the superseding agreement regarding sewer capacity for campground development with Saugatuck Lodging LLC.
I'll support.
Motion by Marcy, support by Aldridge for the discussion. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries 4-0. It brings us to, what's the item that we added, the RAP sub-grant agreement. Daniel, please go ahead and kick off this discussion.
Yeah, there's a lot of words here. It's yeah, so it is so what you're considering is an agreement, the revitalization and placemaking program. Public space sub-grant agreement, which would be between Saugatuck Township and the Right Place Incorporated. So essentially what that does, it makes grant funds available that were received by the Right Place from the MEDC, the Michigan Economic Development Corporation, makes those funds available to Saugatuck Township. Because when we applied to the RAP grant program, we applied as a sub-grant applicant with the Right Place. So this is a grant agreement that was drafted by the state of Michigan. So there's not a lot of wiggle room in terms of asking for amendments. I did have the township attorney review it. He identified a few items that are just noteworthy. They're not, horribly concerning, but some things that we should be aware of. So for instance, in the grant, there are provisions that may require full repayment of the grant. If we default, in certain aspects, and the default triggers are somewhat broad. And there's short periods for remediating those defaults. There is also a financial penalty if we fail to provide, progress reports, the annual progress reports. And there's some incomplete information in Exhibit B. I think that we can resolve that pretty quickly because I did provide that information to the Right Place. I think it just, for whatever reason, was not included in this draft of the grant agreement. So what I'm recommending is that tonight that you authorize the township manager to execute the agreement, but contingent on the manager just checking into those items that were flagged by the township attorney and just asking whether or not there could be any amendment to those conditions. And then contingent on the completion of Exhibit A with all of the information for the grant. And then I did neglect to mention that I don't know if the risks are how do I wanna put this? I think there's less risk for us because we are so far along in the implementation of this project. So this grant program really is for shovel-ready projects, and we have construction documents completed. We have contractors already hired. So we're ready to start in March. I think that these would be more concerning to me if we were still putting together construction documents or we didn't know the source of all the funding. But all those questions are answered for us. We know where the funding is coming from. We have contractors lined up. You know, we are ready to start as soon as the ground thaws. Which is not the position of every community with this grant. I still think that you should ask me to follow up and ask the right place to just kind of check in on those points to see if there's any wiggle room. But if not, I think that we're in a pretty good position to see this move forward, and the project should be 100% complete by the first reporting deadline, which is October 1st.
What's the potential size of the grant?
The grant is for $185,600.
And that's definite based.
That's definite. It's state
Agreement
funding.
and signing.
Yeah, it's definite. It's
186.
$185,600. And that's all going towards the town plaza, the landscape component of the township hall exterior update project.
Where the parking is now allowed.
Where the parking is now, we're gonna have a beautiful town plaza. Yes.
Cool. Well, I'm happy to make a motion
Alright,
to authorize the township manager to execute the revitalization and placemaking program public space sub-grant agreement with the Right Place Inc. Contingent upon review of the issues identified by the township attorney and confirmation of that exhibit B is fully completed prior to execution.
I'll support.
motion by Hambrick, support by Marcy. Further discussion. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries 4-0. Brings us to future topics. Glad that Mr. Lubbers talked about our recognition MTA publication and our township treasurer, Helmut, has decided to go for more recognition.
Yes.
Please tell us more.
I'm suggesting, and I shared this with everyone, at the committee of the whole yesterday, we're not stopping with what we. Thank you for pointing that out. So we, this board joined the Michigan Townships Association back in 2018. The previous regime had never been a member. They were one of only 12 townships out of 2,100, 1,200 in the state.
More than that. I wanna say it's more than that, more townships than that in the state.
I think it's 22.
It was terrible.
Point is, only 12 were not members. It's on
12
12
members.
Right, so we've been very pleasingly have been members ever since. So they do this certification that a township can apply for. And the highest level is to be named by the MTA a township of excellence. Not quite that great, you can be, get a certificate of achievement. And you can read. And if we apply for this and are granted the top one, that's in place as long as during our current election cycle, the years that we're elected for. Even though we were all still here after the next election, we'd have to reapply. And you all have the application. It's pretty lengthy. It's gonna take some time. And you don't have to, we wouldn't necessarily apply in each section, segment. So some of the areas that you need to give detailed information on why you're excellent include financial services, assessing and tax collection operations, emergency services, land use management, economic development, which is something we were focusing a lot in the last couple of years. So, and cemeteries, we've done some incredible things, the master plan, redoing that building, working with these historical society on that event this year. So I think we have a lot to boast about. So I'm suggesting, I think, I'd like us to agree to make application. I think since everyone has the application, we should all study it and make notes in all the areas. And then perhaps two of us then put it all together, complete the application. There's no deadline, it's a rolling thing.
Oh,
I think, what is it they said? Once you've applied, they make their decision within like 60 days or something.
Oh, okay.
So there's no grant money involved, but I think it'd be a real better, not in our cap, but our planning commission, our parks commission, and our residents for supporting what we've been doing since November 2018.
I think it's a great idea. It has come up before, isn't it? At least once? No?
We got that citation at one point.
Right.
Yeah, to went through doing so. I don't think we've done for this.
No, I don't think we've applied, but we've talked about applying.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
And again,
and I think we should.
there's a lot here, but I think we have enough brains here.
I wonder if we should divide it, you know, like I do emergency services, so I'm on the fire board and.
Yeah, my feeling was first round, because it's a great exercise. I've been doing a lot of it in my head. Because we don't often sit down
Right.
and think, gee, what do we do about X and Y? So I'd kind of like to get feedback. If you want to do, or if you don't want to comment on emergency services, don't.
I mean, they ask for ISO ratings and things like that, and it's
Obviously,
easy to
you're-
come up with,
yeah.
yeah, you know,
They're
I'd
gonna
be
be
happy
areas.
to do that if you
Yeah.
want, you know. So,
But what I heard you asking for first, and just let me clarify this, is you thought maybe you and one other trustee could kind of head up this project. And then be like, okay, we need information from Brenda for roads, we need information from Stacy from the fire district. Is that what you were envisioning?
But
Okay,
I was saying along the road, along the way, anyone could make comments.
okay,
on something that
Yes.
they remember might not come to the expert in that area.
right, right, right.
But yes, I do think it'd be nice to have two of us, that's the most we can have. And I hope to see this and, you know, it'll take as long as it takes, but
are you willing to?
I'm willing to be involved.
Okay, cool.
I'll
Pick
help you.
straws? Are we gonna pick straws?
Well, we work so well on,
Would you like to
Investments.
ask? Okay, well, I'm
and
gonna,
as our fearless
I'm gonna-
supervisor, I
I'm
think
gonna
you'd be
read,
great,
I'm gonna
and everyone will be.
Yeah, yes.
read, you know. I'm gonna make. Okay, should talk to that, but. I'm gonna move that the township, pursue the NTA Township of Excellence designation. And appoint Treasurer Hummer and Supervisor Bigford to, begin the application process.
I'll support.
Further discussion? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Okay, you get to work on it again together. Wow. All right, we got public comments. You guys stayed. You could have been dismissed. I'm so proud of you. It is a shorter meeting. Yeah. Any comments?
It's got a far way. Where are you staying in town?
No, I'll head back.
Okay.
I have little kids though, so.
And-
Yeah. And nobody, everybody's dropped off.
Yes.
Right?
No one.
Okay, very well, well done. We board member comments. Miss Brenda Marcy, trustee Marcy,
I don't have any that I can think of.
treasurer Homer.
I said it all. For today. Check with me next month.
I'm good.
Thank you guys for being here tonight. Stick around if you have, things that you want to talk to us individually about, but I'll go ahead and adjourn tonight's meeting at 6:55, less than an hour. Wow.